You've seen them everywhere, right? On signs, on social media, Free Israel and Free Palestine. They're short, they're powerful, and boy, are they polarizing. But what do they actually mean? So in this explainer, what we're going to do is cut through some of that noise and get right to the heart of what each side is really fighting for. Let's dive in.
So when people use these phrases, what are they truly calling for? I mean, on the surface, they seem simple enough, but, underneath those two little words lies like a century of conflict, displacement, and just competing dreams. To really understand them, we have to start by understanding the land itself.
And that brings us to the land, a place that holds just this immense significance for Jews, Christians, and Muslims. To really decode these phrases, we've got to take a quick look back at some of the key historical moments that have shaped the conflict we're all watching today.
Okay, so when you strip everything else away, the conflict is about this specific piece of land right here, nestled between the Mediterranean Sea and the Jordan River. The one question that drives absolutely everything is who gets to control it, who gets to govern it, and who gets to call it home. Pretty much every other issue stems from that.
This timeline right here is absolutely crucial. So before 1948, the area was known as Palestine, and it was under British rule. You had both Arab and Jewish communities living there. Then comes 1948, and this is a huge flashpoint. The UN suggests a plan to partition the land. One state for Jews, one for Arabs. Jewish leaders accepted it, but Arab leaders rejected it. So Israel declares independence and is immediately invaded by its Arab neighbors. In the war that followed, Israel not only survived, but actually expanded its territory. Then, fast forward to 1967, and the Six-Day War completely redraws the map again. Israel takes control of the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem. And these are the exact territories at the center of the debate today.
Now this number, 700,000, it's so much more than just a statistic. It represents a massive, massive human displacement. That 1948 war turned hundreds of thousands of Palestinians into refugees. They either fled the violence or were forced from their homes. For Palestinians, this wasn't just another war. It was this huge, seismic event that would go on to define their identity for generations to come.
And that event has a name, the Nakba. It's an Arabic word that means the catastrophe. And this isn't just some historical term you'd find in a textbook. It's a living, breathing concept right at the very heart of the Palestinian identity. It symbolizes the loss of their homeland and the beginning of what they see as their enduring displacement.
Okay, so with all that history as our backdrop, let's tackle our first phrase. When you hear somebody say Free Israel, what are they really getting at? Fundamentally, it's a call that's rooted in a really deep-seated need for security and, frankly, the right to simply exist.
So let's break down the core ideas here. First, it's about the security of the state, the right for Israel to exist as a Jewish homeland and to be able to defend itself from threats. Second, it's this idea of being a stable democracy in a pretty hostile neighborhood, feeling like you're constantly under pressure. And third, in a very immediate and literal sense, it's a call to free its people, especially hostages, from the grip of violence and terror.
Now let's flip the coin and look at the other phrase, Free Palestine. For the people who use this chant, it's fundamentally a call for national liberation and the basic right to self-determination.
For the vast majority of people, this phrase means freedom from Israeli military occupation in the West Bank and Gaza. It's a call to end the checkpoints, the blockades, and all the restrictions that really shape daily life there. At its very core, it's an argument for statehood, the right for Palestinians to have their own independent country. Now, it's also important to acknowledge that a much smaller, more extreme group interprets this phrase as a call for the complete elimination of Israel.
So, okay, we've got these two really powerful competing calls for freedom. If we try to strip away all the politics, all the complex history for just a second, what's left? What are the fundamental human desires that are driving each side? Let's try to distill it down.
And when you really boil it all down, you're left with two very human, very powerful desires. The call to free Israel is ultimately about security, this deep need for a safe home free from existential threats. And the call to free Palestine is about sovereignty, that powerful desire for a national home, free from occupation.
And, this is where a lot of people who are hoping for peace eventually land. This quote really captures the essence of what's known as the two-state solution. It's the idea that the ultimate goal isn't for one side to win, but for both peoples to get what they want most, safety for Israelis and freedom for Palestinians, living as neighbors in their own separate, independent states.
And so that leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? The one that sits at the very heart of this entire conflict. Can these two powerful calls for freedom, born from such different histories and traumas,
Ever find a way to build a shared future? Look, there are no easy answers. But understanding the question itself, well, that's the first, most crucial step. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.